want to come out.
And now he's wimping again.
He didn't even want to come out. I stood right there and I was like, come on, D. And he was like,
I had to have both of us, I guess.
oh, here he is.
You're lucky you're cute, little spoiled butt.
Yeah, he's lucky he's straight on adorable. Because otherwise, you know. Otherwise, it just might not work out. If you're just a big old ugly dog, I don't know.
Dad would have put up with you.
I don't know how far your antics would have got you. This dog. This dog, man. I've had just about enough of this dog. Had enough of your lip, mister.
He doesn't give lip like Cricket gives lip.
That's true. Cricket gives way more emphatic lip.
Yeah.
You ate the pie? You did? You son of a bitch. I knew it was one of you bastards that ate the pie. It was a dream I had when I took a nap today. My mom was interrogating me about a pie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She's like, you have to tell me, did you eat the pie? And I was like, Mom, I didn't even know there was a pie. She's like, I don't believe you. Did you eat that pie, BJ? It's like, no, I don't think I did, Mom. You don't think you did?
What do you think the dream was trying to tell you?
I don't know. What would that mean subconsciously? Your mom threatening you and well, not threatening you, but like interrogating you about whether or not you were the one that done ate the pie.
It could be like trying to remind you of something. What are you forgetting in relation to your mom?
It's not Mother's Day, is it?
No.
Yeah. My mom's birthday is super easy for me to remember. It's just my birthday, but with an extra one. I don't know. I don't know. She was not happy in the dream, though. She was very upset. And it was very clear that she thought I was the prime suspect for the disappearing pie. Very clear. Which I don't blame her. If a pie goes missing, like, I would probably talk to me first as well. But
you're wearing a pie shirt.
I know, humble pie. Look at that, dude. It's pie day. Pie, 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 pie.
Is there any pie that you're like, ugh, that shows up at the holidays?
Cherry pie.
Cherry pie is just too sour.
Yeah, too sour for me. And too much cherry in it. Like the fleshy, like, I just don't like the cherries. I like key lime pie. That's my favorite pie. And then my second favorite pie is coconut cream. And then my third favorite pie is lemon meringue. And then after that, it starts to get like, well, I like berry, you know, like berry pies. Blackberry or raspberry, blueberry pies. Those usually come out pretty good. Although blueberry pie, you don't find blueberry pie very much.
People just do it as a cobbler usually, I feel like.
Yeah. And I almost kind of prefer like the fruits, like the berries in a cobbler than a pie. Oh snap, dude. I'm working my fucking poor mods off the charts with the skibbities. Here we go. Now they'll shut up. Now they have to touch the poop. And be quiet for a whole minute. That's the perfect one. Because it denies them the impulse to come in here and vomit up whatever thing they were going to say. They have to wait a whole minute. And at the end of that minute, I feel like maybe it just doesn't sound as funny.
Well, like, if you think about it, in the shorts feed, a minute is a whole video they could be watching on the feed.
That is true. So a lot of them are probably just like, well, fuck this. But the ones that do need to say something, they gotta touch it. They gotta touch the poop.
It took me forever to like cheesecake. That was one of them that I was just like meh for the longest time.
You don't like
until I got
cheesecakes?
older. Yeah.
I mean, I like a cheesecake here and there, but it can be too much.
You don't seek it out.
It's too rich. It's too much cheese in the cheesecake.
I like my pie that I make because it's like half a cheesecake.
Yeah, yeah. My mom does kind of like the same thing. She makes like a cobbler, not like a cobbler, like a, what would you call? I guess it's like, but it's more like it's a cheesecake, but baked in a big pan instead of like a pie tin thing. Yeah, Marionberry cobbler, blackberry cobbler.
What about a rhubarb pie? Have you ever had a rhubarb
I had a rhubarb pie. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I like a rhubarb pie. Have you ever had any savory pies?
I don't know if you'd count a quiche as a savory pie.
It's close enough, yeah. Quiche is kind of like a pie.
Chicken pot pie.
Chicken pot pie, yeah. 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 Shepherd's pie.
Yeah. We've made shepherd's pie.
That's true. I like shepherd pie.
We tried like a vegetarian shepherd's pie and we're like, we're just gonna do a normal shepherd's pie with Impossible next time.
Yeah. Meat and gravy pies, yeah. I like a lemon meringue. A lot of people don't like a lemon meringue, but I do.
The meringue, I think people like if they're not expecting the meringue, they just think it's
They don't.
weird.
Yeah. They don't quite know what to do with the meringue.
Yeah.
As a topping, the meringue is not supposed to be a sweetener, and it's not supposed to be a sauce. Like people, it's just a textural addition to the lemon. It's there to take a little bit of the acidic bite away from that lemon. That's it.
And to contrast with, like the custard.
That's why I like it. I like the texture of the meringue, and I like that super concentrated lemony custard. Never met anyone who doesn't at least like a lemon meringue pie. I don't know, man. People will turn down a lemon meringue pie. They don't want it. They don't want a lemon meringue pie.
Meringue is very different too, so some people might have just had a shit meringue.
That is true. If you get a bad meringue, it can be bad. That is true. Meringue is not easy to make. You got to have the stiff peaks. You got to whip it until, like when you pull your whipping thing out, it leaves behind a little peak and it doesn't go away immediately. Like that's how you know you got your meringue perfect. It's got to stand on its own. My mom used to let me help because like a lot of the meringue is just grunt work. You just got to whip.
You didn't have a little electric mixer to do it for you.
Well, you would do that to a certain point, and then you got to take over by hand. Yeah. Never met a sweet pie I didn't like. Cherry pies are just too sour for me. But outside of those, like
pumpkin pie is something I could always do.
Yeah.
I never turn down a pumpkin pie.
Or rhubarb pie or a pumpkin pie. Yeah. Sweet potato pie. You ever had sweet potato pie?
That's good too.
Yeah, I like a sweet potato pie a lot.
That's almost savory, but not quite.
Yeah, very close to savory. Just the, like, basically lightly sweetened, and they allow the inherent sweetness of that sweet potato to carry it. It's really good. Yeah, strawberry rhubarb, yeah. That's the kind that I had. I think that's how very common, right? Like that you do a strawberry rhubarb pie.
You don't use as much sugar, probably.
Yeah, I would imagine. Cool Whip plus sweet potato pie. Yeah. Yeah.
We had the marshmallows and sweet potatoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's how my mom makes them when she does do yams. Like it's been I think she stopped making them because not a lot of people ate them in comparison to the other stuff. But that's how she used to do yams was with, like with the brown sugar and the melted marshmallow on top. Buzz, 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 get away from me.
We gotta work for our Thanksgiving this year.
Oh, yeah?
Do the potatoes and the cranberry sauce.
Gotta sing for our supper.
I feel like we've always brought something to Thanksgiving. Like, I think we brought potatoes when we went to my uncle's Thanksgiving.
We did. We did the potatoes that day. That was a crazy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It was just like finding that place was wild. They were out in the bayou and then deeper into the bayou.
Yeah. What was your worst Thanksgiving that you had as like a kid?
Worst Thanksgiving.
But kid only.
Yeah.
I already know your adult one.
Yeah. Worst Thanksgiving as a kid. I don't know, man. Our Thanksgivings were always pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being any kind of like...
No family drama giving.
I'm sure there was one. Like, I'm sure our family Thanksgiving the year my parents split up was pretty fucking sad.
But you were just like tuned out.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't... yeah. It's starting to get hard for me to reach into my childhood and pull out something I haven't thought of in a long time. I'm starting to think that a lot of that shit is just evaporated.
Yeah.
You know, I have very clear memories of certain things, and I still do get that, like, burst of, like, whoa, I remember this, or I remember that. But...
I mean, that's the purpose of nostalgia, to, like, help you hold on to those childhood memories.
Probably, yeah. I would imagine it has something to do with it. Yeah. I still live with my dad's side of the family. My grandma on his side was a fighter. Oh, yeah. We never really had no argument Thanksgivings. Like that. That's something that, like, I never was able to relate very closely with people that, you know, like the whole a meme of, like, you get together with your family at the holidays, you get in a big fight. Like that, I don't remember if that ever happened to me. I don't think so. I can't remember anybody going off the rails at a Thanksgiving. But most of the Thanksgivings I have were at my mom's house, and I'm telling you, man, there's like a fucking silent peace treaty at my mother's house back in the day when it was a party spot, especially. It was like, you don't fucking put your hands on anybody here, and if you do, everybody else that's here is going to put their hands on you.
Politics was something that was very...
Well, you were allowed, like it wasn't like no arguing allowed. It was just like, if you're gonna get butthurt to the point where you're screaming and yelling and fucking the party up, you can leave. Handle your business or don't talk about it. And that's typically how things were handled my whole young life. Was when I was exposed to people being passionate about politics, there was always a barrier like, this is my friend I'm talking to. This is, and the people that, there were a couple of times I remember where people transgressed that and they got the toss. They just got the toss.
I'd say my worst Thanksgiving was the Thanksgiving where I had just gotten my wisdom teeth out. That was a pretty lame Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That is pretty sad. Can't really eat much. Of anything.
Being drugged up because they'd loaded me up with fucking oxys for some reason.
Well, that part sounds kind of fun, but the rest of it, no. You got in an argument with your sister. Yeah, that was just a lunch argument.
That wasn't like
that wasn't
holidays.
Yeah, it wasn't Christmas or anything with the whole family there. That was just me and my sister and my girlfriend and her boyfriend at the time going at it about politics, and it got heated. It got too heated.
You're like, no more.
I had to do the big brother thing. I was pissed, but I knew when I got home, I was like, if I just let this hang, it's just going to get worse. I just have to end it. So I called up Mary Jo. I'm sorry. Oh, there's my sister's name. Called up my sister, and I was like, hey, you know, we gotta stop. You know, we can disagree, but we can't do that shit at mom's house no more. Like, all right. It had to be that way. Yeah, forget that or you're banned. No, it's okay. It's actually quite a popular name. Mary Josephine. Like that, I think it's like a saint or whatever the fuck. Do you think the mural in Prometheus maybe was like the big chap in Alien Romulus? I can't even remember what you're talking about, homeboy. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You don't like bringing up Prometheus.
I've watched Prometheus a few times, but I can't remember fucking shit about it because it's an awful film. It's really not great.
That's a bad indicator of a movie when you can't remember shit.
Yeah. Getting into political fights with your family is pointless. Yeah. Family or friends, unless you're getting paid for it. Like, you know, in my case, I get paid to have a political argument here and there. So that's nice. But, you know. What's your favorite Nintendo game? It's like, dude, fucking read the room, bro. Yeesh. What's your favorite Nintendo game? You imagine? A bunch of people are standing around talking about politics and family and stuff, and you just like apropos of nothing, nobody in this circle knows you. What is your favorite Nintendo game? Autism, yeah. Yeah, I think so. SpongeBob SquarePants? SpongeBob SquarePants? Hagrid, Harry Potter? Hagrid, Harry Potter. What video game you play? You like anime? Sub, gump. You gotta go. You gotta go, kid. You gotta go. That's just the way it is, man. Video game. I like video games. Everybody's like, man, yeah, man, politicking with family is crazy. It can get out of hand. You know, you gotta fucking keep yourself, blah, 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 blah. You like video? You like a potato game? It's like, who are you? The fuck away, kid. Scamper along and go play in the street or something. Yeesh. Yeesh. None of you are comedians. Ooh, called out. What if one of them is? And they're like, hey. Bro, you missed some shit earlier. You're talking about pies, and some idiot was like, want to hear how my grandma died? No. No. Never. Never, ever. Jeez, dude. Well, meet me halfway, y'all. Come on. Meet me halfway. Can we meet halfway in the middle? Meet right there in the middle. You and I. We do a little dance. We make a little love. We get down tonight. Right? yes, the stock market's been crazy, Bill. Oh, don't I know it? I've lost 12% of my portfolio over the last 6 months. It's fucking criminal. Hey, do you want to hear how my grandma died? Who are you? My grandma died. Please, no more. I thought that roast of me was fucking hilarious. Well, there you go. Good for you. At least you took it on the chin. You took it like a trooper. Which of the 4 chaos gods do you invoke? You should know this about me. I know, like, you should be able to guess this about me. You've known me long enough. You should be able to guess which of the 4 chaos gods that I choose to invoke. And it's probably not the one that you think right off the top of your head. I know what everybody's thinking. Nurgle. Nurgle. It's Nurgle. It's like, you know, nah. I know I'm a legend. I'm a living legend in the flesh. Tzeentch. The changer of ways. No blood for the blood god. Tzeentch. Plans within plans within plans within plans. The weaver of fate, the changer of ways, the lord of change. Tzeentch. No, fuck them, dude. The Empire is clearly the biggest baddie. Okay, they're the evil guys. They're the bad guys. They're the baddies. Okay. Yeah, rubric Marines. I like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something like the Thousand Sons Legion was afflicted with some sort of like wasting disease. There was some like problem with their gene seed where like they would like turn into like monsters basically and have to be put down. And so some sorcerer guy, I think, what was his name? Ahriman, I think. He cast some sort of spell that trapped these afflicted Marines' bodies inside of their armor. And they stay alive as long as they're locked in the armor, but if you ever break the armor open, it's just dust in there. Like they've literally just turned to dust inside of the armor. That's really cool. I like that. You think chaos has corrupted me? You can't be corrupted if you were already there, right? Like, I was never a good member of the Empire. I was never a good emperor-fearing member of the Empire. I was always I was born into worship of the changer of ways, okay? And that's just the way it goes. And you can like it or hate it. What are you going to do? Change it? Huh? Sounds like they're haunted. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, the spell he cast was called the Rubric of Ahriman. And that's why they're called Rubric Marines. Our God Emperor may be a dying husk, but he can still body most of the Chaos Gods. He wasn't even able to, like body his own fucking son. Like, his son killed him. So you think he could, like, 1v1 Nurgle or Slaanesh or Tzeentch? Man, you were overestimating, dude. the Emperor basically is just fucking Google Maps. That's all he does. That's all he can do now. He's just Google Maps, dude. He just powers the Astronomicon so that you can travel through the warp, so that you can find your way to the fucking 7-Eleven and get a fucking Slurpee. That's it. That's all he can do now, dude. He's basically he's Google Maps. All I've got to know, bro, was Magnus the Red in the wrong for what he did. Be honest. I don't know what. I can't tell you what what are you talking about with Magnus? What did Magnus do? Did Magnus fucking try and warn the Emperor or whatever? I think, was he the one that tried to warn the Emperor? Yep. Dude, it got nerdy up in here, dude. It got Warhammer nerdy, like, super duper quick. It's okay, though. I'm here for it. Bum, 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 bum. That riff just came in my head. Still DRE. Yeah, 40K is deep. Magnus tried to warn the Emperor, and while doing so, accidentally ripped a hole in the web. Accidentally. Yeah. No, I mean, like, humanity needs to join up with the demons. They need to stop fighting against chaos, right? It's destroyed them. I mean, look at how the average citizen of the Empire lives just to provide a bastion against people choosing to do whatever they want and express themselves however they want. That's what the Chaos Gods are about. The Chaos Gods are about freedom. What does the Empire fear above all things? A lot of people would say the heretic, the mutant, the Xenos, the demon. This is not true, right? This is not true. The Empire fears most of all freedom. It fears the power of one human being to choose to align themselves one way or another. The natural order of things being people choosing their own way. The end of humanity is, you would think, right? But no. The worst fear that the Empire has, the worst fear of the ecclesiarchy and the lords of Terra and all of the governors of these garden planets and all of these royal families and rogue traders, the worst fear that they have is chaos. And what is chaos? What they call heretical, heretical taint, the taint of the warp, right? What they call heresy is simply just people choosing to walk their own path. It's literally that. If you look at the Chaos Gods, they embody the cycle of life, right? So let's go through them, right? You've got Nurgle. Nurgle embodies the kind of decay and the rot, which, if you know anything about the cycle of life, is super important so that abundance can come. Nurgle is the tender of the garden, right? Nurgle makes sure that everything is fertilized. Nurgle makes sure that everything decays. He keeps entropy in place, right? So Nurgle would be entropic in nature, right? So you want to, like, what? Like, create a bunch of space marines to fight entropy? Okay. Let's look at what was it? What's his fucking name? Skulls for the Skull Throne guy. What's his fucking goddamn name? I'm brain farting it. Korn. Korn, right, is not about he hates schemers. He hates liars. He hates manipulators. Korn is about directness. It's about the law of strength, right? And so it's about the strongest survives, survival of the fittest. So now we've got entropy, right? Grandfather Nurgle. And we've got survival of the fittest. Korn is all about the strongest wins. So survival of the fittest, right? Here's the toughest one for people to get in there. Slaanesh. Slaanesh, okay, if you know the lore, is the newest of the Chaos Gods, because Slaanesh represents the irrepressible soul of sentient beings, right? Slaanesh is the fervor to reproduce, the fervor to enjoy hedonistically the things that have been placed in Nurgle's garden, right? Right? So Slaanesh is a brand new god because sentience, in the grand scheme of things, is a brand new attribute of the galaxy. And the sheer force of that desire to experience hedonistically all the beautiful, wonderful things in this world, to push the boundaries of experience, to push the boundaries of sensation and sex and drugs and all of that, right? That the sheer weight of that created a kind of singularity point that ripped open the immaterium and gave birth to a brand new chaos god. Okay? A god that would not have existed if it were not for volition. And that is what Slaanesh is, volition. So now we've got three immutable characteristics of the universe. We have entropy, we have the survival of the fittest, and we have volition. Who's left? Tzeentch, the changer of ways. Tzeentch is time. What changes things fundamentally, and what is the only thing that can fundamentally change things? Time. It takes time. Tzeentch is the changer. Tzeentch is the passage of the materium through this concept that we call time, that changes from one thing to the next to the next. For something new to arise, the old must pass. And without the Chaos Gods, that could not happen. Without Nurgle, the old could never pass to the new, as it needs to. Right? Without Tzeentch, everything would be static. Without Tzeentch, everyone would be the same person as they always were, and everything would always be the same. Right? Without Slaanesh, the grapes wouldn't taste good. The wine wouldn't be tempting. The woman wouldn't be alluring. The drugs wouldn't be enticing. The art wouldn't be moving. The music wouldn't be, cacophonous and big if it were not for Slaanesh. Right? If it were not for Khorne, the world would be infested with creatures that did only take, right? They only took. Creatures that did nothing to aid and abet their own survival, who simply lied around and profited from the great richness of life. Right? This is corn. Corn ensures that the weak of the herd are culled and don't amass and become the herd. Corn is survival of the fittest. Corn is natural selection. And Nurgle, right? Nurgle is death. Death is a huge part of life. Without death, there can be no life. If things didn't die, this earth wouldn't support us. Things must pass. Things must decay. Things must rot, right? Things must fall apart in chunks. Things must get diseased and pass on so that the garden grows, right? So, you put it in the context of the Empire, knowing what you know now about each of the Chaos gods. What you have is the Empire of humanity at war with the very aspect of nature itself. Nature itself is what humanity is at war with. Humanity is at war with entropy. Humanity is at war with evolution. Humanity is at war with itself entirely and utterly. So if you understand, you know, there are people that play 40K, and then there are people that know 40K. Okay? You don't understand, and you suffer. Superstition's not the way. Bum, 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 dum, dum, bum, 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 bum. Is that an Adirondack rocker? No. This rocker was made, this is a handmade, personalized rocking chair made by a dude named Biker Dave that lives in Louisiana that doesn't do this anymore. So this is actually a really nice rocking chair, custom made for me by a dude that just hand built it and built it like a brick shit house. It'll just probably, this will outlive me. Yeah, this was a really cool birthday present from Scotty. Scotty knew how much I liked sitting out on the porch and stuff. And he knew Biker Dave. And he asked him to make me a custom chair. And I love it. It really is a great rocking chair. So, really cool gift from Scotty, for sure. Very neat of him. Sweetie Scotty. Ever play Shadowrun? Yeah. Never like the tabletop game. I played the Sega Genesis game, Shadowrun. Okay, that's a good game, bro. But never played the tabletop, no. I'm not a big tabletop gamer, actually. Given, I just like the lore of 40K. I don't play or collect it or anything. Oh man, I feel better after my trip to the fucking ocean, but now that I'm back in the valley, my fucking allergies are kicking back up real bad. Ugh, itchy eyeballs, the whole nine. Yay, histamine. The GTA game, I mean, they're fun, right? Like, that kind of like they kind of established the idea of an open world game or like a simulation of a city. And just like really everybody's favorite thing to do back in the day. And I think that GTA needs to harness this a little better. Was eventually you play through the story and that's fun. But the fun thing is after the story, just going and seeing how many stars you can rack up. Like how much chaos can you cause? How long can you survive? How many, people can you fucking gun down before the military takes you out? Right? And that, like I don't know. I haven't really enjoyed that as much as the games have gone on. And I don't know why. Eat the pie. Now you need a trip to Mushland. Well, I've wanted to for a while, but the vibe hasn't been right. You can't force the vibe. I don't do it just because, ever. I make a conscious decision that I want to do this. I just haven't felt that impetus. I haven't felt that motivation. But I think it's around time. I think there's a mushroom trip in my near future. My last trip was really bad, so I haven't had the craving for a long time. Did you move? Nope. Nope. Ugh. Puffy, red, irritated, dry eyes. Where's Ben Stein? I need clear eyes. Yeah, man, you got to know yourself well enough to know that, you don't force it. And that's a good thing. Clear eyes is awesome. I don't know what else would be causing my dry red eyes. It's an unsolved mystery. Dun, 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 dun. Boom, boom. Robert Stack, bro. Just even the name, bro. Even the name. You know he had a fat stack, too. Robert Stack. That motherfucker. That son of a bitch. Robert Stack. The last season of Game of Thrones sucked. I'll do you one better. The last season and a half of Game of Thrones sucked. How about that? It started sucking about halfway through season 6. And then 7 was just gobbledygook garbage. I can't wait to not watch the new Goosebumps movie. See, I would never. I missed Goosebumps. Like, that'll age me, right? That'll let you know that I'm old as fuck. If you couldn't tell already by looking at me. I was too old for Goosebumps when Goosebumps came out, bro. I never read a Goosebump. I was in like the middle, like sophomore probably in high school by the time Goosebumps came out, bro. I wasn't trying to read no Goosebumps. Jack Black's in a Goosebumps movie too, so he's pooping all over. He's gonna do Roblox too, watch. There's gonna be a Roblox movie. And Jack Black will be in that too. He's just pooping over all, like, everything that kids love now. Smearing his smarmy Jack Black all over everything. Oh yeah, Minecraft. Yeah, he's doing Minecraft as well. God damn it. Did you read Stand By Me? Stand By Me is not a full book. Stand By Me is adapted from a short story called Ray Brower's Grave, or something like that. It's not even called Stand By Me. Yeah. Good movie and a good short story. I can't remember which collection. Is it in Graveyard Shift or Half Past Midnight? I can't remember which of his early short story collections, or if it was just released as a standalone short story in a magazine or something. I honestly can't remember, but it's not like a whole ass book. Yeah, I haven't done my annual read of Hatchet this year. I need to do it though. It's just such a good book. I think I'm a little stoned. I already did watch Ginger Snaps this year. Dude, have you ever thought about the title of that movie? Right? It's a double entendre. Ginger Snaps, right? Are a little like cookie. And it's like an allusion to the teenage girls who are the main characters, right? But Ginger snaps in the movie. Did you ever think about that shit, bro? Did you ever let that shit bake your noodle, bro? What's your favorite food? My mom's enchiladas. Get it? Like snaps, like she goes crazy. Ginger snaps. That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what I'm talking about. The sequels are weird, yeah. Isn't one of them like Victorian or some shit? One of them's like goes way back in time. With a twist. A twist. High caliber twist. 3 is the one where they're like Victorians or something. I don't even know. I remember seeing 2, and then I couldn't bring myself to watch 3. But the first one is goated. I mean, come on. The first one is just like, that's definitely the one that you would want to like show people, like have people actually watch if they're not just like a total fucking horror nerd like me. Because I really do think like it stands as one of the best werewolf movies. Like I really have a hard time like do this with me. What werewolf movie would you put genuinely as an examination of the horror of being a werewolf, becoming a werewolf, right? And going through that process? What movie do you think did a better job than Ginger Snaps? American Werewolf in London, right, has that great werewolf transformation scene in it. But as far as an examination of the kind of like it's just a very basic werewolf film, right? It offers a very basic examination. Then you got Wolf. That's another one of my favorite werewolf films with Jack Nicholson. And that one has a very traditionalist werewolf kind of thing, right? Where you remain more man than wolf. You're just kind of like given the aspect of a wolf, which is an interesting kind of way to tackle the werewolf. But like, I don't know, man. I think one of the things that's cool about Ginger Snaps is it's like a very deep as you want it to be kind of film. Like, it can just be a straight up horror film. You can just look at it like, oh, a teenage girl turns into a werewolf, kills people, gets killed, right? You can look at it as an allegory for puberty and an examination of how growing up can change these fundamental and very close sibling relationships, right? Can strain them. So really, like, if you wanted to take a psychological dip into Ginger Snaps, it's a movie about being a girl and coming of age and having a sister, a young sister, that you no longer identify with because you're more interested in boys and this and that. And you could say that the allegory of Ginger's sister killing Ginger in the end is a way of her letting go of Ginger, realizing that Ginger has grown up. She's not interested in all the things that she was interested in when they were little anymore. And so that could be, allegorically speaking, you could look at the movie and say it's a movie about letting go of someone that you love because they've moved a different direction than you, right? And then, of course, there's the layer of, the weirdness of being a teenager and an examination of that from a uniquely female perspective with menstruation and all of that stuff, right? And so that is Ginger Snaps as a movie, deep as you want it to be, right? Totally enjoyable as a turn your brain off werewolf slasher kind of flick. But if you look at what the themes of the movie are, and this is all just like media literacy shit, the themes of the movie are sisterhood, burgeoning sexuality, puberty, and the physical changes of puberty, right? Like, you could say that Ginger growing hair in weird places is a very ham-fisted allegory for getting pubes, right? This whole idea of your body going through this physicality change when you go through puberty, right, is a huge part of that film. All of a sudden she's interested in boys and boys are interested in her. It's a coming of age film, and the kind of a film about the chaos and interpersonal tragedy of that. These kind of if you look at Ginger and you take the werewolf out, what happens to Ginger, right? Ginger, there's kind of experiences a sexual awakening, doesn't really have anybody to properly guide her through that, and so starts to have promiscuous sex in order to fulfill that drive. Infects her boyfriend with an STD that turns him into a werewolf, right? And so she reaps the consequences of her bad decision making. She spreads, a disease around unknowingly, and her personal and private life is kind of thrown into chaos as a result of her pursuit of sexual pleasure at the cost of decency to other people, right?
D.
Yeah, it really is as deep as you want it to be movie. I mean, you look at how those themes interplay, right? Not just the theme of sisterhood and coming of age and how that can strain a well-established and long-running childhood relationship. You can layer that with the puberty, right? You've got one sister who is experiencing that kind of pubescent change, and you've got one sister that hasn't yet started. And there's a difference in mindset and a difference in interest level and a difference in hobbies and fashion, and all of these things, right, mean different things to Ginger and her sister because they're at these two different points in their lives. Ginger's sister is like what you would probably call like a late bloomer. She's less developed than her peers, right? And that's a character study in and of itself. B, Ginger's sister, is kind of like she has to go through that talk with her mom where her mom's like, it'll happen to you, sweet. She's, and it's like obviously way too late because at this point, B is probably like 13 or something, So clearly she knows about all that shit, and her mom's just being cringe as fuck, and that's part of what she has to deal with, right? Is this idea that like she's out of place amongst her peers and her family because she's waiting on this biological process. And so there's this whole undercurrent of jealousy, and Ginger even calls B out on it at one point when B is like, you have to fucking stop this, Ginger. Of course, draped with the werewolf analogy, but we're taking that away. You have to stop what you're doing, Ginger. You're ruining your life. And Ginger says, you're just fucking jealous, B, because I've got tits, or whatever she says to her, and you don't. Right? And so it's a character examination of B, right? From the perspective of a girl who's on the cusp of that, but has not yet reached it. And watching it happen to her sister, who's a year or two older than her in the movie, right?
Well, you're just going in if you're just gonna huff and puff.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you're such a little, and he doesn't, what I don't understand about Dee's process is, all right, you go to the other side, their dog is way more apt to like bark at Dee. But Dinor will just ignore him. Yeah. But this little dog just wants to walk up and down by the fence and sniff. And Dinor is just like, I don't get it. Like, at what point does he flip over into like, okay, I get it. There's a dog over on the other side, and I really don't care.
He's just a little weirdo.
Is this a green screen? No. This is not a green screen. Does it look like a green screen?
Maybe that's like a neutral thing or something.
Oh, yeah, it could be, yeah.
It's like the second time someone's brought that up.
It's funny how the younger sister was older than the actress who played Ginger. I didn't know that, but yeah, that is funny. It's a dog his size. Maybe that's true, huh? This dog over here is a little bigger than him. Like, probably, I would say, like a little medium-sized guy. And this dog over here is probably smaller than or around Dinor's size. So maybe that's it.
But then Dinor freaks out about cats and possums that are smaller than him, too.
That's true. But that's a visual thing with him. He sees it over here.
Yeah.
This guy, maybe it's because he can see through the slats.
Yeah.
And over there he can't, really? I don't know.
Because that dog's popped all the way out of those slats.
Is it because he's closer to us?
Yeah.
Like, if we were over there, would he be more apt to go after that little dude? I don't know.
He's just a little weirdo.
Yeah, that's a street light. Maybe D doesn't have good object permanence. I don't think that concept exists in dogs, yeah. Not to the extent we expect it to develop in humans.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked face first into a glass door?
I have at one point, I think.
Yeah. Does that happen to everybody at one point? That you accidentally, like, walk into a glass door?
Probably.
It's like an object permanence glitch. Paul, how much is the cheapest second-hand car in the USA? Bro, I don't know. I would imagine, like, if you want a car that you can drive right away, you're probably not going to get a car that's going to last longer than a year or two for less than $1,500 now, I would imagine. If you go down into the, like, oh, pay me $800, you're probably going to be getting a car that's about to die, which, you know.
Yeah, there's a certain point where, like, the fucking cost of maintenance overrules the cheapness of it.
Yeah. And I gotta be honest with you, like, that's kind of the same thing as it was when I was a kid. When it comes to shitty cars that are just drivable, it's about the same price range. You know, my first car that I ever bought was $1,200, and it would have lasted me way longer had it not been wrecked. And my second car lasted me quite a long time too. Took me to 2 different states. So, you know, and that car I think was like $1,500 when I bought it. So. I might be completely undercutting the price of a fucking car, but I think that's about, like, when you're not going to get a great car for $1,500. But, you know, if you get the right kind of old car, they're easy to work on. The maintenance on them is cheap. The tires are cheap because they're very standard, you know, and you can just keep it running forever, ever. I've had my car for close to 11 years. That's pretty good. 11 years. That's not bad. What year was your first? Because there are now, like, safety regulations pushing the price up. I bought my first car in 1996, and the car was a 1981 Ford Tempo 5-speed. So, already like a 15 or 16-year-old car when I bought it. Had a bunch of miles on it, but those cars, like I would like to have one of those cars. I'm not even kidding. Like if I was wealthy or whatever, I'd hunt down one of those and have them restore it, because that car, it would drive forever. It's fun to drive because it was a zippy little four banger with a 5-speed, sorry, a little 5-speed manual, just like with a 4-stroke engine, but it weighed nothing. You know what I mean? And so you could get some ass into it, and you could just drive that thing like shit. I miss that car. I think everybody kind of has a thing for their first car.
I mean, I don't for mine.
No.
I was busted.
Yeah. I mean, so was mine. It was not a nice car, but
I didn't even have a speedometer.
okay, yeah, I wouldn't.
No AC.
Okay, yeah, you got fucked. That's a shitty first car.
500,000 miles on it.
That's a shitty first car, baby.
Yeah. It was $900 in cash though. So.
Yeah, you went under the $1,500 shit marker, and you got what you got.
Yeah, but it didn't end up needing anything for a while, and then the fix it needed was like $300.
Baby, it didn't have a speedometer.
Yeah.
It needed something right away.
It didn't get to the point of non-phone.
Okay, gotcha. You could get in it, and it would go putt-putt to the next thing. Okay, yeah. 2007 Pontiac Grand Prix would never die. I regret selling that beast. Yeah, I could probably get a Tempo, too. Like, I see them all the time, like, on used car lots and stuff. I'll see a 90s Tempo. The 80s Tempos would be harder for me to track down now, but I don't think they're prized by anybody. And so it's like, there's probably quite a few of them floating around out there.
Well, 1980.
81. 81 Ford Tempo 5-speed. It was white. Not that that matters, but I think they only came in like white and gray. But I loved that little car, man. That little car was great. Had a pretty big trunk, so I could put 2 big fucking box 12s in the back. So it just had, dude, that car had beats, bro. Nice lined trunk, independently amped double 12-inch speaker box in the back. Dude, you heard me coming from like 3 miles away. It was beautiful. My first car was a maroon 82 Ford Temple GL 5-speed. So that basically the same car, bro. Yeah, I think that was a lot of people's first car from my era. They were very cheap. It was like the Honda Fit of that time. You know what I mean? They were meant to be easy to work on, easy to maintain, relatively safe, not super fast, sporty, but get you from A to B, good little fucking drivers, and that's what they were.
Yeah, I don't know. The best way you would find something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking for something like specific like that, you know, in that era.
There's a lot of it's pulling up just like parts for Ford Tempos.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that I'm not big into like the aftermarket thing. I'm sure there are whole websites that are dedicated to that. Well, the Dodge Neon is ass, though. Can I be frank with you, dude? Here's a sad truth, but it's a truth that if you're nice to people, sometimes it pays off, right? So I had a lot of customers I used to chill with, and there was this one dude at my first job. Well, my first real long job at Starbucks. There's one repeat customer that was there. And he was an older guy. And I think looking back on it now, he kind of saw that I was young and didn't quite know what I was doing. And I was telling him, like, I wanted a PT Cruiser in the worst way. They were brand new. And I thought it was so cool. And I told him, I was like, you know, they're not that bad, and I make pretty good money here. I think I could swing a rent, like a thing. And he was like, well, let me take you down to my bank. He was a really nice guy. I don't think there were any ulterior motives going on or anything. I didn't feel that way off of him. I just feel like he was a dude that like saw that I was a young dude that didn't have his parents around and didn't quite know what the fuck I was doing yet. And he helped me get my first uh, like actual bank account. Like I had like a Bank of America account or whatever that was just like a checking thing. He took me and got me my first, like, I can't remember where it was, and had me look at the thing, but then had me talk to the loan officer down there and went with me. And when he heard what kind of car, because I hadn't told him what kind of car I wanted. When he heard what kind of car, he took me outside and he was like, dude, don't get a PT Cruiser. And I was like, dude, they're so cool though, and they're cheap. He's like, it's a Dodge Neon. And I was like, what? It's like the chassis, the whole thing, the engine, the chassis, everything but the body is a Dodge Neon. Do you want to drive a Dodge Neon? And I was like, no. He's like, don't get that. You know, he talked me out of it. He talked me down off the ledge, basically.
That's what my mom got. Post-divorce.
Yeah.
Dodge Neon.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically like the bottom of the barrel car. It'll
van
go.
Broke down on the way to driving the stuff over. My dad just picked the cheapest first car he saw.
Yeah. Hey, that'll be it. The Dodge Neon would be it. Yeah.
Dumped all her crap.
That's so shitty, but I mean, what are you gonna do? That was JD's first car on Howard Stern. He drove a purple Neon, da badass. Yeah. I remember that. A purple Neon, bro. Yeah, the Dodge Neon is like one of the worst cars.
It just stopped running at a certain point.
Yeah, they were just built like shit, and they weren't as easy to work on as their counterparts in the price range. And they were just known to have bad transmissions, I think, which is like horrible. You know, you've got to
like if that dies, you're fucked.
Well, you may as well just go get a whole new car.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I loved that little fucking Tempo. It's a 5-speed. As long as you like the worst thing that'll happen to a 5-speed is you fuck up the clutch, and yeah, that sucks. But you can replace a clutch way easier than a whole tranny. Like 5-speeds will run forever as long as you maintain them okay. You don't just like drive them dry.
But yeah, if you ever see a super duper cheap car, that means the tranny's probably about to go out.
I mean, yeah, that is one of the reasons why they discount a car. Bad transmission is a very typical thing. That's why, like I said, man. Now, I mean, now we're in a different world. Now the whole transmission, like in the car that I drive now, it's completely different. Like there is no transmission in the car that I drive. I have two independent electrical motors driving the front and ass of my vehicle simultaneously. There's no crankshaft. There's no, you know, drivetrain. None of that shit exists under there. There's a big battery and two electrical motors. You know, but if I was to get just like a little tool around car or something, which is something that I would think about maybe doing if I was living somewhere.
Yeah.
If I owned a house, you know, owned a property, I would think about getting us a little fucking putt-putt car to go into town in if we didn't want to have to take the big boat. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Like if we both had to do something.
Right. And you just, you know, whatever. You know, just something that's fun and zippy and easy to drive. And all I would have to do is teach you to drive fucking manual and just get a little tempo. You'd be fine with manual. It's just like, I think, didn't you say somebody tried to teach you one time and it didn't go well, or no?
Yeah, but that was very brief. It was like immediate frustration, give up kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta fucking like get through. Once you understand what's happening, it becomes pretty second nature pretty quick. I learned early, and so that made it easier for me. But it's not like, especially in a little car like that, it's not rocket science. It really is something that just becomes second nature, real simple. And if you learned how to drive it, that little, like I said, man, it would cost us nothing to maintain that car. You know, really like cheap to fill up on gas, little tiny like 10-gallon tank, you know. and it got really great gas mileages. It got like I think 35 city
Yeah.
if you drove it right. That's another upside to the manual transmission is that they're more fuel efficient in the city.
The stopping and going
Yep.
and stuff.
Because you can neutral coast.
Yeah.
All you have to do is find the bite point of the clutch. Yeah, you have to learn what that feels like. You have to learn when the clutch is engaged. And then you just got to learn your throw pattern. And you're good. Then there's like little things that you'll pick up, like downhill, like shifting, downshifting when you're going downhill instead of riding your brakes. That's something I miss about manuals so much, bro. I used to love taking the Grapevine, which is this like really mountainy pass into the LA basin from the Central Valley where I live. I used to love doing the Grapevine in my tempo because it's so much easier to pull a hill when you can downshift to pull the hill, right? So when everybody else is just like burning all their gas as their car tries to fucking constantly manually adjust, right? You're just in second and then third when you need to be. And then you get over the top and you start to go down. When everybody else is having to ride their brakes, you just put it in third and just take your fucking feet off the shit. Just, and your car's not burning gas. It's just beautiful. The quick heel toe. Yeah, I'd get a vet. Like if I was a rich dude and I had a bunch of fucking like garages or whatever, I'd get a, you know, my dream car is a 76 Corvette Stingray. So that'd be pretty dope little car to have. You could get in trouble with it though. Those things get up and go. Miss my old 88 F-150 with a manual. Yeah. Yeah, my parents had a 69 Ford Ranger that was just such a cool pickup truck. C3 and C4 Corvettes actually aren't too inaccessible. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want like a more modern Corvette. I think they're cool looking though. Like some of the, because you can tell they've got like the carbon fiber upgrades and the different, like the sports package and they're lower. Like some people are driving around and their Corvettes are starting to cut the same jib as like a hypercar, bro, and that's saying something. Like it's like you see a Corvette coming and like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, like a brand new Corvette that's got that fucking sky blue and it's got the fucking, you know, and it's like for a second there you go like, damn, is that a Rari? Nope, that's a Vet. Yeah, the cracked head, man. That's pretty nasty, bro. I can't even roll in peace. Everybody notice me. Yeah, I know. It is kind of weird, huh, John? Yeah, I know. Like the new Corvettes, they cut a Ferrari jib from the front, and I'm here for it, dude. I think it's cool that you can, like, it's a mid-tier kind of sports car, not a supercar, not even close to a hypercar, but when it's coming at you, it kind of cuts the same line as like an 80s or late 80s or 90s, like fucking Ferrari. Cool. Very cool. I had an 84 Corvette for a while. It was so nimble. Yeah, they are pretty fucking nimble. They are super nimble little cars. I don't know, man. A 90s Supra. Yeah. I never got into the Rice rockets, bro. All due respect. But that is not my thing. I like old American muscle cars, and I like foreign hypercars. You know, those are the cars I like to admire. Who the fuck is, like, pedodial? Bro, you can't even do... Pedodial? Oh my god, bro. Who are these people? A lot of these people, I think, are telling on themselves. The people that just travel around, just like point a finger at a person they don't know. I think a lot of them motherfuckers are telling on themselves a little bit, bro. A lot of people just a little, they're pretending they're FBI agents and shit. You ain't an FBI dude. You ain't an FBI agent, all right? Chill the fuck out. And there's people that are trained to take care of that shit. They don't need your monkey ass running around. Yeah, me think the lady doth protest too much. Cyberpunk Mad Max style. Oh. Oh. I love people who can't. I know, dude. Pedodial. Sub Gump. Mama always said it's good to waste your time scrolling through the internet and calling people a pedophile. But sometimes I have trouble spelling it. Sub Gump. And they subscribed to do that, too. Think about that. They're not allowed to speak if they don't subscribe. They subscribed, waited a whole minute. Hilarious. Would be hilarious if it wasn't so fucking sad, honestly. Yeah, dude. Sasuke's older brother, they get jutsu, dude. Trick out a Yugo. All right, let's stop. Man, this has been a nerdy ass one, dude. We did Warhammer, and now we're just dorking about cars. This has been a nerdy one. I like that. I like nerding out. You gotta nerd out every once in a while, bro. I like geeking. Yeah, nerding it up. Oh, yeah, you gotta go back. You'll like the Warhammer talk. Dude, I gave the best explanation for the Chaos Gods on YouTube, live, off the top of my head. I did, dude. Yeah, we did a whole Warhammer thing. Favorite Cali car? Yeah, man, I've got a certain fucking, like, home base for a slammed out 6.4 Impala on fucking hydros, dude. I watch it all day, bro. I got nothing but mad respect for a lowrider, bro, but I was raised around that culture. And so, like, when I see one, it's just like, oh yeah. It would be super sweet to have a slammed Impala to just fucking cruise. It really would be, man. That's another geeky ass fucking car for me. Trying to think of other cars that I think it would be cool to have. Oh, what were those called? They were like the Cybertruck, but cool. They were like a car, but with a pickup truck bed. You know what I'm talking about? What were those fucking called? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, bro. Not Daytona. Come on. The fucking, you know what I mean? El Camino. Dude, tell me a fucking cherry El Camino, like a 76 El Camino, wouldn't be like bump 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 bump. Oh yeah, como va bump bump. Que rico, quiero samosa. Bump 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 bump. Yeah. I still haven't seen El Camino yet. Am I an asshole for that? Mullet Paul. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Just rocking it. Let my mullet, let the golden mullet just go behind in the breeze as I cruise down the highway in my El Camino on a fucking hot summer day with Oye Como Va playing. Because that's what you gotta play. You gotta play Oye Como Va. Dum dun 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 bum 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 bum. Oye como va, que rico. Yeah, dude. When I got to the end of Breaking Bad, I was just like, I don't really care. I don't want more of this right now. So I'm not, you know, I didn't go straight to the El Camino shit. I didn't go straight to the Better Call Saul. I was like, I'm really think I'm kind of done with this universe. It was cool. But the fact that there's just been like endless permutations of it is kind of like off-putting to me a little bit. It is not my favorite way to consume content. Endless derivations. Boom, 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 boom. Well, kind of the whole point was that Walt was never winning, right? But in terms of the goals he set out for his life post cancer diagnosis, he won. But it cost him his family. It cost him his friends and the respect of his peers and everything else, right? Cost him everything. But ultimately, it took that for Walt to finally chart the course in life he was meant to chart. That's at least the point that I took from it. Like if you wanted to boil down Breaking Bad into one kind of like anecdote, it would be being yourself is really hard. That's the struggle, right? The struggle that Walt has in the show is he gets a taste of the illicit life and he realizes that he's not only good at it, but that he loves it. And it costs him everything to pursue it. But that's what happens. You know? And it took him being confronted with the finality of life, right? Jesse wasn't a criminal at heart, but wanted to be. Walt is, but didn't want to be. No, Walt wanted to be. That's the whole point. Remember? He has that big moment where he's like, basically, the I am the one who knocks, where he just admits it, right? He's just like, this is, I do this because I fucking love it, because it makes me feel alive, and because I'm goddamn good at it. He wanted it every step of the way. If he didn't want it, he could have walked away after that one fucking sail to Tuco or whatever, and, you know, died of cancer. I think Jesse wanted to be a criminal, but for different reasons than Walt. Jesse wasn't confronted with the finality of his life, he was confronted with its pointlessness and uselessness. Jesse was a character who allowed his parents to convince him that he was a worthless bum. And the only time in his life that he didn't feel like a worthless fucking bum was when he was working with Walt. Then he felt like a fucking professional. And the fact that it was meth was just incidental to him acting out. I mean, the meth thing, when he meets Walt, he's basically a teenager stuck in a fucking 20-something's body. Hasn't grown up at all, just a total fucking washout bum. And all of that is because he's taken his parents, like, the kind of, like, mental abuse that comes with being told that you're a worthless sack of shit. Well, he's like, if I'm a worthless sack of shit, then let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to be a meth dealer. I'm going to cook meth. I'm going to fucking, you know. He's just like trying to act out. He's hurt. Right? And it is incidental that he finds the love and nurturing that he needs from a man that is a criminal. Walt, in this case. He finds the father figure that he needed to show him how to be the best that he can be, but that father figure happens to be a fucking meth kingpin, right, in the making. And he's definitely not the greatest fucking example, and that's the whole point, right, of the show, is that Jesse learns that Walt is a piece of shit. He appreciates his influence to some degree, but he realizes that Walt has dragged him down a road of utter ruin and degradation. And Walt realizes that as well, but doesn't really give a fuck, because Walt is a sociopath, right? Walt is one of these carefully regulated sociopaths that lived his whole life conforming, and then as soon as he was given the opportunity, began preying on people, and he wanted to do that, and he knew he was ruining Jesse, and he didn't care. Right? And this idea, like, Walt tries to act like he cares about Jesse a couple of times in the show, but he has 100% control over Jesse. He could just fucking cut ties with Jesse. He could pick up his whole family, move to another state. And, I mean, the whole thing is just all his doing. He wreaks havoc on his family because there's a certain part of Walt that wants to destroy that. Walt wants to destroy his family. He's sick of it. It's cucked him. It's driven him to be this soft, meek, shitty person. And he fucking hates himself. And he fucking hates his family and his retarded son and his nagging bitch of a wife. And he can't wait to ruin them because they ruined him. And that's ultimately the truth. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm fucking wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm dead on about Walt. Walt cares about Jesse the same way that a farmer cares about his tractor or his prize milk cow. Walt doesn't give a fuck about Jesse. If he cared about Jesse, he would have done right by the young man and not wrong. He used Jesse. So yeah, I agree. Walt does care about Jesse as a utility, as a tool, as a donkey. He did make sure to leave his son the money, so he purchased his absence. Awesome. Wow, what a great father. I'm sure Walt Jr. flourished with some money. You know what I mean? Like, he's a piece of shit. That was his way of, like, justifying his negligence and absence from his son's life and all of that. He never gave a fuck about his son. He hated his son for being retarded. He hated that his son was disabled and that his life was consumed with that. He hated that his wife had taken control of their pocketbook and their finances to the point where he had no autonomy anymore. He hated his family. He hated his friends. You know what I mean? These friends that had muscled him out of the company that he had built, right? He hated everybody. He wanted revenge on all of the people in his life because he looked at them as people that were leeching off of him. And he took that revenge on everybody in his life. Took it on his wife, took it on his son, took it on his family, took it on his friends. He got his vengeance, right? And that sociopathic drive for vengeance is really the core character arc for Walt. It's like, you want to believe that he's a nice math teacher that just had a brush with death and discovered a weird world and got in too deep, right? That's what he wants you to believe. That's what Walt wants you to think about Walt. But, like, what did he do? He destroyed his family and then left him a bag of money. Awesome. Wow. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. I mean, come on. Give me a fucking break. No, it's not a show about a man who wants more. It's a show about a man who hates everyone, including himself, deeply and passionately. He judges everyone beneath him in the show, if you really look at it. There is never a point in the show where he humbles himself to another person, and if he does, it's in service of fucking that person over in some way. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm smarter than my dad, Paul, so bag of money doesn't sound bad. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't like turn my nose up at a bag of money, but is it love? Does it guarantee Walt Jr. a life? No. Guarantees Walt Jr. a good wheelchair and a good helmet to wear around for the rest of his life. Cool. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, look at what he did to Mike. Exactly. That's a character arc that's like he used up Mike and then just ditched him. Just got rid of him. Used him up. Took him from like a dude that, you know, was pretty much out of that fucking wheelhouse or whatever, or was maintaining some connection to his family, destroyed it, and then killed him. And you want to tell me that, you know, you want to tell me that show is about a dude that just got in too deep. No, he wanted that shit from the very jump. From the very fucking jump, Walt was judge, jury, and executioner in his mind. And all he found was the nuts to put that out into the world. And as soon as he did, he wanted more, right? Right. Well, he's presented as a normal person. Good person is something you got to know way more about a person than you learn about Walt in the first episode of the show, right? You got to know way more to know good person. No, like average person, right? And so Walt is an absolute sociopath from the very fucking jump. And he is living in absolute and utter disgust and disdain for his own life and the way he allows himself to be treated by people, and for his wife, who has become a nagging mother figure in his life, and for his son, who had the temerity to be born with a disability, So he just requires all this special attention, and he'll never do anything fucking, that Walt pictured him doing. So it's just disappointment and disdain and this burning ember of rage for his friends for fucking him out of the deal. And the rage burns even hotter for himself because he allowed himself to be cucked out of his company by these fucking people, right? All of that, right, is from the very jump. He hates the world. He hates everybody he touches. He hates everybody he comes into contact with. The only time he shows love and appreciation and affection genuinely is when he needs something from somebody. That's why he threw his arm around fucking Jesse. That's why, because he's a predator. He sized up Jesse like that. What did he see when he saw Jesse? This is a fucking fatherless child. This is a kid who's been divorced from his fucking parents emotionally, doesn't know which way the wind is blowing. He needs a strong male presence. He is going to latch onto me like a spider monkey if I give him a sprinkling of praise. He'll be like a lap dog. And that's exactly how he used him the whole fucking show. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, look at what Walt did. He let a person die. He could have intervened. He let the person lay there and choke on their own vomit so that he could further ensure that Jesse would be bound to him emotionally. That's a predator. That's grooming, as people call it these days, right? Walt didn't care. A girl was messing Jesse up, though. Yeah, but for him to you have no that's the thing is he's not the angel of death, but in his mind he is. He's a sociopath. That's why I said from the very beginning, Walt is judge, jury, and executioner in his mind already. He just lacked the sack at the beginning to actually express it. That girl is messing Jesse up. Well, Jesse isn't your son. Number one. So it's not your job to intercede in his relationships. Number two, he was messing Jesse up to the point where Jesse couldn't perform or was looking like he didn't want to do the fucking meth shit with him anymore. Right? And Jesse was starting to fucking use with this girl too much. And it was fucking up his money. So he killed her, or allowed her to die. However you want to put it. Jesse was the non-disabled son Walt always wished he had. Well, a lot of that intention that he would have put on Walt Jr. if Walt was physically and mentally capable of it was put onto Jesse. But it shows what kind of father Walt would have been to Walt Jr., right? It would have ruined his life even further. Anyway, fun talk. I'll see you guys later.